Imagine boarding a ship that the world believed could never sink. A journey filled with hope, luxury, and dreams. And just 3 days later, it turns into one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. This is the story of the Titanic. In the early 1900s, shipping companies were competing to build the biggest and most luxurious ship ever made. The British company White Star Line decided to go all in. They built Titanic in Belfast, Ireland, a floating palace designed to impress the world. It was 882 feet long, about the size of 3 football fields, and weighed over 46,000 tons. On board, there were swimming pools, a grand staircase, fine dining rooms, and luxurious cabins that felt like a 5-star hotel. People believed in it so strongly that some even said, not even God could sink this ship. That belief would later prove dangerously wrong. On April 10, 1912, Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York City. There were around 2,200 people on board, divided into different classes. First-class passengers were wealthy elites and millionaires enjoying the height of luxury. Second-class passengers were professionals and middle-class travelers. And third-class passengers were mostly immigrants, hoping to start a new life in America. For some, this journey was about comfort and status. For others, it was about hope and survival. As the ship moved deeper into the Atlantic Ocean, it began receiving multiple warnings from nearby ships about dangerous icebergs ahead. Messages came in clearly, warning of heavy ice fields directly in Titanic's path. But despite these warnings, the ship continued at high speed. Captain Edward Smith and the crew believed Titanic was strong enough to handle any danger. After all, it was called Unsinkable. That confidence would soon be tested in the worst possible way. On the night of April 14th, at 11:40 p.m., everything changed. A lookout stationed high above suddenly spotted a massive iceberg directly ahead in the freezing darkness. He immediately signaled the bridge, "Iceberg, right ahead." The crew reacted quickly, attempting to turn the ship and avoid a direct hit. But the Titanic was simply too large, and it was moving too fast. Within seconds, the ship scraped against the iceberg. Ice crashed onto the deck and below the surface. The iceberg tore open multiple compartments along the side of the ship. At first, it didn't seem like a disaster. Many passengers barely even noticed the impact. But deep inside the ship, water was already rushing in. As engineers assessed the damage, the truth became clear: Titanic was going to sink. And then came one of the most shocking realities. There were not enough lifeboats for everyone on board. The ship carried lifeboats for about 1,200 people, but there were over 2,200 passengers and crew. That meant more than half the people had no chance of escape. The order was given: women and children first. Lifeboats were lowered into the freezing ocean as panic slowly spread across the decks. First-class passengers had quicker and easier access to the boats, while many third-class passengers struggled to even find their way up. Gates, confusion, and language barriers made escape even harder for them. As the situation grew more desperate, the atmosphere turned into chaos. Some people prayed, some cried, some refused to believe the ship would actually sink. Families were separated. Loved ones held each other tightly, knowing it might be their final moments together. Musicians on board reportedly continued playing music to calm the crowd, even as the ship tilted further into the icy sea. In the early hours of April 15th, just 2 hours and 40 minutes after hitting the iceberg, Titanic reached its final moments. At around 2:20 a.m., the ship broke into 2 massive pieces. The front section disappeared beneath the ocean, followed by the back half rising briefly into the air before it too sank into the darkness below. Hundreds of people were thrown into the freezing Atlantic waters. The temperature was so cold that most people could survive only 15 to 20 minutes before hypothermia took over. Out of more than 2,200 people on board, over 1,500 lost their lives. Only around 700 survived. When news of the disaster reached the world, it sent shockwaves across nations. Titanic, the ship that was believed to be unsinkable, was gone. But from this tragedy came important changes. New maritime laws required ships to carry enough lifeboats for everyone. Continuous 24-hour radio communication became mandatory. Iceberg monitoring systems were improved to prevent such disasters in the future. The story of the Titanic is not just about a ship. It is about human ambition, confidence, and the cost of ignoring warnings. It reminds us that no matter how advanced we become, nature always has the final say. Today, the wreck of the Titanic still rests deep at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, a silent reminder of a night that changed history forever.